Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be focusing on some of the astrology that's coming up for the week ahead. Are you ready to move forward and start something brand new? Well, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, check out my bracelet that I just got in case I got lost or anything like that. It does pop off sometimes, so I have to be careful to make sure that I'm not turning my wrist in a particular way. Hold on, let me get it back on there. Okay, so it's just this little bracelet. It says Eek on it. I'm probably gonna give it to my niece though. I just turned it off. Hold on one second. It has different settings. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with some of the astrology that's coming up. So after a lot of this big back energy that we just got through over this past weekend, there has been a lot of significant changes in the air in regards to connections and relationships and things of that nature. And you have just kind of given yourself a moment to kind of take a note or to see exactly what's going on with some relationships that seem to be off balance. Now, that doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing. That's just kind of showing you that there are some significant things that you just kind of need to adjust in a particular way. I mean, it's not necessarily something that you have to hold on to or overthink or anything of that nature. It's just kind of something that needs to be kind of forfeited in a sense in order to bring more balance in connections and relationships, so that there is a bit of an understanding or clarity in regards to particular connections and things along those lines. We do have the Hangman here at the bottom of the deck, which does represent Pisces energy. We're kind of coming up to this Pisces energy at the end of the week, and we're going to talk about that at a later time because we do have Pluto going direct on the 11th, which I'm going to make a whole different video for that. But let's go ahead and move forward and start to kind of look at some of the energy that's coming up. A lot of this energy at this time with the moon entering into the sign of Sagittarius over the night here and into Monday on the 7th brings a level of enthusiasm, a very spirited energy, and a lot of confidence to look forward to. So do keep that in mind. We do have the King of Swords card here, which is air energy, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Now with the King of Swords card here, this is a very confident energy. This is kind of like sitting in your power, knowing yourself. The King of Swords is a bit of a very confident yet straightforward energy. The sword does represent victory and success, and with the King of Swords card here, this is being able to understand that there are some things that are kind of moving out of the way so that you can make room and space for particular projects, ideas, plans that you have for the future, especially currently at this time, because with the moon in Sagittarius, keep in mind that the moon does rule over Cancer, but Jupiter, which rules over Sagittarius, also rules over Cancer as well. So when the moon is in Sagittarius, there's a lot of this Jupiterian energy that's also being activated because Sagittarius rules over Jupiter and Jupiter is in Gemini. So with the King of Swords card here, there's a lot of clarity that's coming in with the moon in Sagittarius. The moon in Sagittarius brings this very uplifting, very optimistic energy, and it could also be like a trailblazing kind of vibe. It very much opens up an expansion of thoughts, ideas, and creativity in areas of your life regarding a fixation on particular plans that you have for yourself. Jupiter is known as the globetrotter. So with the Judgment card here, the Judgment does represent Sagittarius energy. So kind of expect around this time for there to be particular plans, ideas, like I said, but significant choices in regards to the efforts that you want to make that are moving the energy forward in a way that is bringing in a level of, one, abundance, but two, very creative, thoughtful plans and ideas for the next steps that you want to take moving forward. So right around this time, you could be especially feeling locked in to what's true after a lot of this, again, like I said, big back energy that we had over the past weekend. And you could just find yourself sort of glazing a lot more than usual right around this time. We have the 10 of Coins card here, which does, again, like I said, represent abundance. We did have the 3 of Swords card here and the Ace of Cups, which does represent love and your cup overfloweth and things of that nature, with the Hierophant here at the bottom of the deck, which does represent Taurus energy. Now Uranus is in Taurus. I haven't really touched on that because we haven't really had a lot of significant Uranian transits at this time, but keep in mind that Uranus is in Taurus retrograde. So I did post a little short on my shorts. If you haven't been checking those out, definitely go and check those out, you guys. But when Uranus is in Taurus, so I'm just going to kind of touch on this a little bit. Uranus in Taurus kind of breaks relationships apart in order to bring them back together in a new way. So Uranus in Taurus can be a time to kind of work through some of the things or some of the changes that you've had to make significantly in your life regarding past relationships in reference to new ideas that you see in the future, kind of forfeiting, like I was mentioning in the beginning of this video, some past relationships that are kind of out of balance in a certain way that you had to kind of adjust, especially around the solar eclipse in Libra that we had on the 2nd of October. So you're kind of coming into the space right now where you're starting to see things a bit more clearly in regards to connections and relationships. And you can kind of find yourself, especially around this time with the moon in Sagittarius, where it is very comfortable, being a lot more yourself, kind of getting your confidence back and like feeling more secure with like the kind of approaches and ideas that you want to put into the forefront regarding changes, and understanding that you've done the work and you've done what is necessary in order to remove some of the stagnancy in connections and relationships, alongside with procrastination as well regarding how you want to express yourself and the things that you want to do in order to manifest and bring into focus a more truer self in regards to creativity. So just keep that in mind. Three of Swords card here. Now, the Three of Swords is a sense of kind of like coming to terms, again, like I said, with having to let go, because in order to bring more balance into your life and feel more fulfilled and creative, there has to be like a level of confidence and security with yourself in order to say to yourself, okay, this is what I want and this is what I'm doing and this is how I'm going to do it, and I feel secure enough to say what I need to say and bring a more focused approach to particular projects and plans and creativity without having that sort of feeling in the back of your mind of like not being 100% quite sure in regards to how you want to approach, you know, the creative aspects in your life, because then now you know that like you're totally fine to do whatever it is that you need to do because you've brought more balance in your scales so that you can move forward and move things along. A lot of this energy is going to kind of ramp up and really start to set forth right around the 11th when Pluto goes direct in Capricorn. There is a strong sense of persistency and like wanting to make plans, taking things into your own hands. I'm just going to kind of touch on this for a second, and developing those plans based on the attributes that you have for yourself in regards to long-term plans and goals. Though keep in mind that for a moment throughout this month, we are going to have some retrograde energy. So with Jupiter going retrograde and Mars entering into shadow, there is still going to be like a little bit of this kind of having to like revise plans and kind of work with the energy and kind of develop it as it comes into more of a focus throughout the month. So it's not necessarily anything that you have to be kind of, you know, aware of on a certain level or forewarned about. The best thing to do is just like remain confident within yourself and allow for the changes to just kind of develop over time. Like I talked about in my last video, the best thing to do, especially with this retrograde energy, is to just kind of be more receptive and just allow for whatever is coming up or like whatever is coming out and towards you to be whatever it needs to be, and like get the information whenever the timing is right and things like that, and then just kind of move on to like do the things that you need to do on an individual scale in order to feel confident and secure with like the approach that you have for yourself, or the kind of projects, ideas, and things that you're working on for yourself in regards to relationships and connections. The less that you kind of focus on this Three of Swords energy, again, this goes back to a lot of the Uranus retrograde and Taurus energy, the more that you'll feel like you're not necessarily wasting time and energy trying to like figure out what's going on an external level. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and see what else or what other messages that we have for you. Now, also pay attention to projects or ideas that are developing more fully, like I said, as we can feel like an urge to not follow the crowd and break out in new and different ways. So that's going to be coming up very significantly as we work towards the energy throughout mid-October, okay? So allow some of these changes to come in, especially with the retrograde energy. And just keep in mind that Sagittarius energy involves using knowledge as a means to empower yourself and setting yourself apart from the norms of like other particular ideas or plans that are going on externally to you. We can also be seeking a rapport with other people as well, and kind of feeling like, okay, like things are good, or I feel more confident with the approach that I'm taking for myself. And, you know, in regards to where you may stand with other connections and relationships and things like that, it all comes from an internal truth that you have for yourself regarding, you know, how you feel about plans and like yourself, basically, you know, because it is an internal empowered truth. So we do have the Magician card here. The Magician does represent Gemini energy. and I apologize, excuse me, you guys, with the Three of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Now, Jupiter in Gemini, we're going to touch on that here for a second. As I was saying, with the moon in Sagittarius, now Sagittarius energy is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is in Gemini. So right around this time, because we have the moon in Sagittarius, and also, not to mention, it is also going to be in a trine or in a formation with Venus in the sign of Scorpio, trining Mars in Cancer. So we have Jupiter in Gemini with Venus in Scorpio, trine Mars in Cancer. It's like a triangle. Trines are significant energy of being bestowed upon with like blessings and gifts and things like that. It's a very harmonious, very good fortune kind of vibe. Three of Wands card here, looking out into the future and saying to yourself, okay, these are the choices, these are the actions, and these are the efforts that I'm going to make for myself in regards to particular plans that I have for myself in order to bring more abundance into my life and leave behind a lot of this sort of stagnant, dry, insignificant energy. That's not to say that you need to judge anybody, but unfortunately we do live in a world where like things that kind of show up in a particular way are there always to show you that, like, you know, it's not necessarily in tune or in focus with like the plans that you have. Of course, you can kind of use that in a way of looking at it like, well, you know, if you're a doctor, obviously you have more knowledge than somebody who's not. Yeah, that's a little bit different. You know what I mean? Or if you're somebody who like studies, I don't know, astronomy in a certain way, and you like fly up to space in a NASA spaceship, yeah, you're probably not, you know, the same as like everybody else. Actually, as a matter of fact, we live in a house that used to be owned by an astronaut. I don't know what that is all about, but I mean, I've always found that very interesting that like this house used to be owned by somebody who was an astronaut. So anyway, that's just on a side note. But so yeah, so on a more humbled note, you know, internal knowing and internal power and, you know, being a bit enlightened in a sense, because Sagittarius energy is very much like an enlightened kind of energy. Hello. That does give you a prestige in a sense where you feel more confident about at least what's going on a day-to-day basis and things along those lines, so that you don't feel like you're kind of just walking around aimlessly. As somebody who has studied astrology for quite some time, I will say that like the more astrology and the more that I learned about how a lot of it works, the more confident that I got in my day-to-day practices and like the things that I do on a day-to-day basis, that unfortunately, like, you know, I do have to live in a world where like things aren't always great, but essentially because I know how to work with the astrology, I never get kind of like, you know, thrown off or afraid about what's going on externally to me. It's kind of like a hidden key or like a code, you know, to kind of live by, so that I don't feel like, you know, things that are happening are blindsiding me and things like that. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of like, I'm very unbothered at this point. And I actually kind of love when like the astrology just proves me right. You know what I mean? So anyway, Six of Wands card here. This is major confidence. This is also being celebrated and success. So this is kind of coming into a space where you may be feeling like, you know, you have a sense of like confidence. Queen of Cups is saying here, like, stay a bit humbled though, like don't overdo anything, kind of don't go overboard, because when the retrograde energy comes up, it's going to be kind of a time to kind of slow down and adjust as the energy sort of comes in, and there's kind of just like a different approach or like going down a new path in a sense. I'm kind of looking at this as more so like kind of flipping the script a little bit. Justice card here is Librian energy, obviously with the sun in Libra, Three of Wands, progression, forward movement, and change. So just kind of look forward to that energy. All right, guys, I don't want to make this super long, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave this here. I will be uploading another video soon, and yeah, talk to you guys later. Bye.